Welcome to the Commentary Predictions, week number 11 in the Premier League. I'm Russ, Vernon, the host of these predictions, and I've got another special guest lined up and waiting to go up ahead of me. But before we do that, let's have a look at how I got on last time out against JB, aka John Stuttard, and I lost by 5 points to 3, with my 3 points coming in the Chelsea game, Norwich Leeds United and Aston Villa versus West Ham. JB got his 5 points with a Burnley victory over Brentford, a Chelsea correct score in their match against Newcastle, and he also got the Leeds United game spot on. Well, this week, he's been on before, but this week I'm taking on Fulham fan Barry Swain. And Barry, how are you doing, my friend? You okay?
I'm very well, Russ. I'm very well. How are you?
All good, mate. Thank you. Fulham doing fairly well, which we'll touch upon after we've done the predictions. We'll look at week number 11 in the Premier League, starting with a game on Friday evening in the Premier League between Southampton and Aston Villa, which should be a good match at St Mary's. Both teams doing fairly well now. Southampton started to pick up a few results. Villa in indifferent, started off well and now starting to slowly fade after the defeat last week to West Ham. How do you see this game going, Barry, the St Mary's on Friday evening?
Well, it's going to be a good game, isn't it? And Danny Ings going back to Southampton is going to add a little bit of spice to it, isn't it? Last time Southampton played at home on a Friday night, we all know what happened, and they'll be hoping that doesn't ever repeat itself ever again, losing 9-0 at home to Leicester. I know Aston Villa have had a bit of a run, haven't they? The 5 or 6 games that they've lost on the bounce, and I saw them against Arsenal a couple of weeks ago, and they were pretty poor, and they've just lost a little bit of momentum. All's not well there at the moment. It just they need to get themselves settled down. This is probably the ideal fixture for them. You know, they've had a couple of really bad results, losing heavily at home last week to West Ham, who are on fire at the moment. This is the type of fixture they want. I saw Southampton last week against Watford. They were much the better side. They're okay, Southampton. On paper, I kind of lean towards Aston Villa with this one, but I think it's going to be a draw. I'm going to go 1-1.
Well, in this one for me, Barry, I'm going for a very good game. I'm going for a win for Aston Villa. I'm going for a 2-1 Aston Villa in this one for me, Barry. Next up is the Manchester Derby, and Ole Gunnar Solskjaer saved his job with the win over Tottenham last Saturday. They now got their city rivals, Manchester City, who lost to Crystal Palace last week. Surprising defeat there for Pep Guardiola's side. Do you reckon Pep Guardiola's side will bounce back this weekend, Barry, and get the victory against Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's men?
Yeah, I fancy him to do so. United are just... they're so hit and miss, aren't they? How bad were they against Liverpool? That they played very well last week against Tottenham, albeit Tottenham let them play well. And then I'd done the game in midweek where they got a 2-2 draw. Cristiano Ronaldo again, just on cue. It's like the script was written. He was going to do that, wasn't he? In the 90 whatever it was minute in Italy, Northern Italy, to get that 2-2 and probably saved their Champions League season. They've had a bad season, they really, United, and you know the writing's on the wall. It's for me, it's not. If it's when they decide to part company with Ollie. I think they need a better manager personally. I thought Conte would have gone in there. He's gone to Tottenham, but you know he's still there at the moment. They're still sticking with their man. I think I don't think all's well there. It doesn't look right. I mean the mistakes that were made in the week by De Gea, by Harry Maguire, Pogba. Fundamental Sunday League mistakes in that game away at Atalanta, you know, and then those 3 players did get criticism for it, and rightly so. I don't think all's well. I think City will bounce back. They had a comfortable win in midweek against Club Brugge. I think they'll bounce back from the defeat against Crystal Palace. Wasn't helped by the fact that they were down to 10 men for half of that game and more. And I think they'll come through this one. I'm going to go 2-1 to Manchester City.
I'm going for a Man City win as well, Barry. I'm going for a 3-0 Manchester City win. I don't think Manchester United will have enough to get the goals in
I think
this game. But
Cristiano Ronaldo, 90th minute. I think it's got to be, hasn't it? They'll be 2-0 down by then, though.
yeah,
Do I get an extra
nothing.
point if that happens?
No, you don't, mate. You just if it's 2-1, you just get the 3 points for the 2-1 scoreline for Man City, but you won't get an extra point. Next up is Brentford, who have started life in the Premier League quite well against the Norwich side, who are very, very poor at the moment. No wins yet for the Canaries, and Daniel Farke under increased pressure from the supporters. Some of the supporters wanting him gone. I saw a video from another YouTube channel, told Norwich City, Jack and Chris Reeve, the good friends that I watch, and Jack says he thinks it should be time for Daniel Farke to be sacked now by Norwich City, but I'm not sure if they will sack him. Brentford have got a good home record. I'm going for a 2-0 Brentford winning this one. Barry, how about yourself?
Yeah, I think Brentford will have enough to win the game. They've had a little bit of an injury crisis last few weeks. They've got off the boil a little bit, haven't they? They've not such great results in the last few weeks. Yeah, having said that, they gave Chelsea a good run for their money at home. They gave Liverpool a good run for their money a few weeks earlier. They were pretty poor last week away at Burnley. It seemed to catch up with them a little bit there. They'll be looking to bounce back. Norwich, not seen a lot there that inspires me. I don't think they're the worst team that the Premier League has ever seen, but statistically they might be the worst team that the Premier League has ever seen, and you do wonder where they're going to get that first win from. And they need to start picking up points. They had those 2-0 draws recently where they start to keep clean sheets, and then they went to Chelsea and shipped 7, and they want a response of some sort in this game. And they lost at home to Leeds as well. They need to start picking up points. They'll need something from this game. I can't see them getting it. I'm doing this game, actually, and I haven't thought about the scoreline, but I think Brentford are going to have too much for Chelsea. I'm going to go 1-0 Brentford.
1-0 Brentford against Norwich there from Barry Swain. Next up is Chelsea against Burnley, and Chelsea doing fairly well. 3-0 winners last week against Newcastle, 7-0 the week before against Norwich, which Barry touched upon there, and did well in the Champions League in midweek as well. I can only see a Chelsea victory here. Sorry to JB, our resident Burnley fan, which I know he's going to say he knows we're going to predict defeats for Burnley. He says everyone on the commentary hub has got a thing for Burnley losing every single week. But now then, Barry, how about you? Chelsea Burnley, do you reckon it'll be a comfortable win, like I said, in a 3-0 win?
Sorry, JB. You are playing probably the best team in Europe, one of the best teams in Europe at the moment. Probably favourites for the title, aren't they, Chelsea? They're pretty formidable at home. Listen, if anyone can go to Chelsea and win, it's someone like a Palace or a Burnley. You never rule it out. Those results do happen. Look, last week, Crystal Palace winning at Manchester City. I saw Burnley play away at Manchester City a few weeks ago, and they went 1-0 down. Should have scored 2 goals. That would have changed the whole complexion of the game. They ended up losing 2-0, and I thought they actually gave a good account of themselves. I've always had Burnley down as being one of the 3 that go down this season. I still stand by the fact that I don't think they'll be far away from it, but I think they've kind of gone up in my estimations from what I saw of that Manchester City performance. They'll go there and they'll make life difficult for Chelsea. We know that they've got players that are capable of defending, but they've also got the capability to get upfield and do damage on the break. And Chelsea will be very wary, but I can't see anything other than the Chelsea win. So I'm going to go for the routine 2-0 home win for Chelsea.
So a 2-0 win there for Barry. Next up then, Barry, it's Crystal Palace, who had a good win last week against Manchester City, which we've already touched upon already in this when we mentioned about Man City against away at Manchester United. They've got a Wolves side who got a good win last time out against Everton, did well against Everton last time out, got a draw against Leeds just the week before as well in Premier League. Do you see another Wolves win here, Barry, or do you think Patrick Vieira's side will have too much from him? It'll be an own victory at Selhurst Park.
I don't know. I think it's going to be very tight. Very impressed with the way that Palace have come out of the blocks this season. I like the way that they play. You know, under Roy Hodgson, I don't think he should go without being complimented on the way that he solidified Crystal Palace. And I think him moving on when he did was the right move at the right time for everyone concerned. And they needed freshening up Crystal Palace, and they brought in Patrick Vieira, and his managerial record hasn't been too great. But coming into this is a make or break job for Patrick Vieira. It really is a make or break job, and he's gone in there and he's made a good start. Now, there's a long way to go, but he's got some good players going forward. They're an exciting side. He's pretty much changed the centre of the defence this year. There was the old guard that have been shown the door. I was concerned for Palace because I thought there was a lot of players that were leaving, and I didn't think they were going to bring a lot in, but they brought good quality in. I think they're a much better side this season. They're easier on the eye. And I think that both these sides will be fine mid-table. I don't think there's a lot in them. I think Palace are probably the best side, but I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw here. Wolves are a bit Jekyll and Hyde, aren't they, at the moment? I'm going to go 1-1.
Yes, they are, but I'm going for a 2-2 draw in this one. I think it'll be a draw as well, but I think both teams will score, and I think there'll be goals in this one. Hopefully, they've not put any mockers on that one. Brighton up against Newcastle next in this last game on Saturday evening. I'm going for a 3-0 home win with there's news on Thursday evening that Eddie Howe has agreed a 2.5-year deal in principle with Newcastle United to become their new manager. So could they have a new manager bounce in this one without? And it looks like he may be in charge for this one, or it could be after the international break. But they want to be impressing the new manager. But I think Brighton will be too strong. I'm going for a 3-0 Brighton win. I'll just see this game going, Barry.
I think Graham Jones would probably be in charge, and Eddie would sit in the stand, I think, for this one. And then he's got 2 weeks to work with the nucleus of the squad during the international break. I think Brighton have had a fantastic season so far. Do you know, I've got a little feeling here that, Eddie's first game in charge, I've just got a sneaky little feeling for Newcastle. I don't know why, because they have been pretty poor this season and they're right down in the mire. They need to start picking up points. I'm really concerned for them. I mean, all that money sloshing about, and they're going to have to spend it in the Championship. So I think they will stay up, because I think they will turn to the loan market, and they will bring in a couple of big signings in January. It'll probably help them over the line. I'm going to go for a 2-1 win here to Newcastle. I'm going to put my neck on the line of my not playing so safe with this one. I'm going to go Newcastle. I think they're going to win 2-1. Don't know why. It's my gut instinct. I think they're going to win 2-1 on the South Coast.
Yes, Barry thinks Newcastle going to win. Do you agree? Let us know in the comments what your predictions are for this weekend's matches, and we'll be able
pelters for that.
Next up then, Barry, it's Arsenal against Watford, and Arsenal picking up form recently, and Watford doing fairly well as well. I know they didn't had a good result last time out against Southampton, but bearing difference from the Hornets. But since Claudio Ranieri has come in, he's changed them around and started playing some good football now. All the Hornets. Do you reckon Arsenal will get another victory here, Barry, or do you think Watford will surprise them?
Well, we're talking about Jekyll and Hyde Wolves, Jekyll and Hyde Watford. I mean, but at home they lost 5-0 to Liverpool. Last week they were very poor against Southampton. They got where they deserved defeat. They created very, very little, to be honest. Good save by the Southampton goalkeeper towards the end, but other than that, they didn't really create much. I was very disappointed in them. And you scratch your head and think, how did they score 5 goals against Everton away? But they're capable of causing damage to the better sides away from home, and it depends what Watford side turns up. And my gut feeling here is that Arsenal are in great form at the moment, and they've really started to bed in after that bad start to the season. They've kicked on and they've settled down, and they're kicking on towards the European places. And I think this has to be a home win for me. I'm gonna go for a 4-0 Arsenal victory. I'm going to go on a big win for Arsenal on the proviso that Watford are going to have one of their bad days at the office rather than one of their good days. But if they do, 4-0 Arsenal.
I'm going for a 3-0 Arsenal, and I think Arsenal will beat them, obviously, at the moment. Aaron Ramsdale and Ben White, really good performances in recent weeks. Another one, Emile Smith-Rowe, doing some good things for Arsenal in recent weeks as well. So I think Arsenal will keep a clean sheet and they'll win comfortably. Next up, Everton against Tottenham is a 2 o'clock kickoff on Sunday. And as is the Arsenal-Watford game as well. Tottenham under new management in in Antonio Conte took charge of his first game on Thursday evening, as well in the Europa Conference League. They go to an Everton side managed by Rafa Benitez, so two big names in the dugout. Which of the big names do you reckon is going to come out on top in this one, Barry?
Yeah, two big names managers, aren't they? Two big clubs. Everton have got a new stadium 2-3 years down the line, which will be the northern version of Tottenham by the sounds of it. It's going to be a wonderful stadium. But the here and now, we're looking at two sides that are not playing particularly well. I know Everton have got one or two injuries, and you look at their squad. I'd done a game involving Everton a few weeks ago against West Ham, and I felt that the Everton squad, when they went behind, I said, look what's on the bench. There's nothing. Calvert-Lewin was out injured at the time. They just haven't got that massive strength in depth, and that's the one thing that Rafa will be very concerned about, because he's a good manager, but he can't work with a wafer-thin squad like they've got. And they really need to be strengthening that. Tottenham, I think they will turn around very quickly under Conte, and I think that this is a fixture that could go either way. Everton need to start picking up. Tottenham need to start proving to their manager, they are capable. They started the season well, didn't they? And they've crashed since. If they didn't have those 2 or 3 wins at the start, they'd be right down the bottom, wouldn't they? This is a tough one to call, but I'm going to sit on the fence. I like to sit on the fence. I'm very good at it, and I'm going to say 1-1.
I'm going for Tottenham win here. I think Tottenham will get the job done against Everton, and I think Antonio Conte will have a managerial bounce in the Premier League. I think Tottenham will win 3-2. I think Tottenham will just prove a bit too much for Everton. I think Everton will score though, but I think Tottenham will edge it in a 5-goal game. Next up then, Barry, another 2 o'clock kick-off on Sunday. It comes at Ellen Road as Leeds United, who got a good win without playing that well against Norwich last time out, taking on the Leicester side who lost last time out against Arsenal. How do you see this game going to Ellen Road, Barry?
It's another one. There's lots of games this weekend. It's tough to call, and this is a really tough one to call. I mean, Leeds. I like Leeds a lot. I think they had a fabulous season last season. Second season syndrome, yeah, maybe a little bit. I think once they get one or two of the players that have been missing, a few defensive big names missing early part of the season. Once everyone's back and they'll pick up. I mean, I saw the game against Watford a few weeks ago. I thought they actually played very well against Watford. 1-0, should have won by a lot more. Really should have wiped the floor with Watford. Watford were with a happier side at the end to lose 1-0. Should have been more. Leicester, they've been pretty poor this season up until late, and suddenly they've hit a bit of form. They've got some great options going forward. Patson, Daka, Iheanacho, Vardy. And on top of that, Maddison's just starting to find a little bit of form. Barnes, he's come back from that long-term injury, and he's taken a little bit of time to find his form. But they've got some great players, Leicester, going forward. I think, if both these sides bring their attacking a game to the table, it'd be a fantastic game. On that basis, I am going to really, really gamble, and I'm going to say 3-3.
I'm going for a Leeds United win here, but as you would probably expect with me being a Leeds fan, and like I said when I did this with Joe, like every single game Leeds play, whether we play Manchester United, Chelsea, Liverpool, Man City, I'm always going to back Leeds to win, even though we'll probably lose the game. I'm going for a 2-0 Leeds United win. I know we've got Rodrigo up front of the minute, Dan James, Rafinha, Harrison, all going interchanging in that front line up front. And I was watching a video earlier on Thursday, of a Leicester fan talking with a Leeds United podcast, which is a really good podcast, LS11, with Darren Harper, former Leeds defender Ben Parker, and Ryan Wilson from the Pigeon Detectives. And he did one interview with Darren Harper, and he thinks if Leeds can press their Leicester's back line, Leeds could cause him a few problems and force Schmeichel to kick it long into an opposition player or out for a throw. thinks that's where Leeds can cause them problems, and especially by piling on the pressure and not giving them too much time to play out from the back. I think Leeds will edge it 2-0, and I think we'll get an early goal in the first half and an early goal in the second half, and then just defend quite well like we have been doing most of the season, but not being able to. I know we've considered a few goals as well, but majority of the time we've been defending very, very well with Llorente in that back line alongside Cooper or Pascal Struijk, and be interesting to see who partners Llorente, because I think Llorente will start this weekend, probably Cooper alongside him, and if Leicester do decide to go two up top, probably put Struijk in a centre back as well and go with three centre backs. So I think Leeds will legit 2-0 at Ellen Road. The final game of the weekend then, Barry, is a West Ham side who are doing fairly, fairly well in recent games, especially in Europe as well. Got a 2-2 draw on Thursday evening. And I think in this game, they'll cause Liverpool a few problems. Liverpool cause them a few problems. I'm going for a 2-2 draw in this one, Barry. How do you see this game going to the stadium?
It's another one, isn't it? I mean, there's no clear cut ones this weekend. I mean, for me, Liverpool have been excellent this season. Then Chelsea, Manchester City is going to be an intriguing battle for the title. It's a 3-horse race at the moment. If any of those are going to fall away, you'd probably say Manchester City might be the team to fall away. Liverpool have been at their best. They are brilliant, and they've got the best, for me, the best player in the world at the moment, Mo Salah. And I'm not in a minority there. I don't think, am I? He's brilliant, and West Ham will need to contain him and Sadio Mane. If they can do that, then they've got a chance. West Ham have been playing really well this season. I've been very impressed with them. They've got a good balance. They've got a good side this season. West Ham's best side they've had down there for many years. After the years of struggle, it seemed that they found their niche during the lockdown when they didn't have the toxic atmosphere inside the London Stadium because there was no fans there, and that kind of neutralised the place a little bit for a year. And it's the lockdown's done them a lot of good because they still want the owners out, but they're not looking into that so much at the moment because they're pushing for a top 4 place, West Ham, and they've been playing some really good football. Liverpool, I think there's no doubt are the favourites for this, and I'm finding it tough to call this one, and I think there will be goals in it. I'm edging towards Liverpool, so I'm going to go West Ham 2, Liverpool 3.
Yes, I said 2-2 there, so we'll get the predictions up on the screen a bit later so you can have a look at what me and Barry have said in the predictions for the Premier League later on this evening for the matches this weekend. But Barry, just obviously, as I know, and probably a few of us on the channel know as well, that you are a Fulham supporter. Just talk to me about Fulham's season so far, and a very good win for Fulham in midweek. What have you made to Fulham's start of this in the season so far, Barry?
Yeah, I think you've got to be pleased with the way it's gone so far. I mean, they're in clear second at the moment, and they're hunting down Bournemouth at the top, and they're scoring goals for fun. I mean, 7 last night. We got at Blackburn, which is a fantastic result against a decent Blackburn side. I mean, obviously the sending off did make a world of difference, but 7 goals last night. If you'd have saw the score, it was just 7-0. You think, Mitrovic has probably gone and got 5 or 6 of those. He's only got the one. They could afford to take him off, and Muniz comes on and scores 2 goals, which they spent big money on bringing him in the September transfer window, and he's going to be there to score goals longer term. I thought Mitrovic looked injured last season with a knee injury. He's gone away. He's got himself fit. And there's no doubt he's one of these strikers that's too good for the Championship, but not good enough for the. Not really. He did have a decent first season up when he first went up for them, but he didn't really get going last season. For me, he was injured. He was overweight. He wasn't interested. He obviously had a falling out with Scott Parker. It wasn't working between those two. One of them had to go. It probably shows how big a character he is at Craven Cottage that it was Parker that was the person that went. Mitrovic would have gone if Parker would have stayed. I'm sure of that. They're scoring goals for fun at the moment, and they're easy on the eye, and they've got some great players that should be playing in the Premier League. Harry Wilson, have spent big money on him, spent more money on Wilson than the rest of the Championship spent on everyone. So, they're at an unfair advantage. There is a massive gap between the Championship and the Premiership. The Premier League, are they going to go up? Probably yes. I watched West Bromwich Albion last week, and I've watched a lot last night. Rather, I've watched a lot of West Bromwich Albion this year, and they are not easy on the eye, but they will grind out results. And it looks like Bournemouth are going to be up there or thereabouts, and we expected those to be the three big ones, really, didn't we? With Sheffield United are creeping up the table, but apart from that, you're then looking at the also rans, the teams that are in and around the playoffs, the Luton Towns and so forth. There's lots of half decent sides in there, but when you look at it, it should be a formality for them to go up. I mean, they call it HMS. I won't use the word, but run away with the league. A few of the fans have been using that terminology. It's like a boat trip for the season, that they're just going to run away with the league. I've never bought into that, but it does look as if they can continue and keep everyone fit, they will continue to score goals, and they should run away with the title in a similar fashion to what they did back in, I think it was 2001 when they won it under Tigana at such a gallop that I think Blackburn was second that year. We run away with it then, and I think we'll run away with it this time around. And obviously I'm being biased, but we have got the strongest team in there. We have spent a lot of money, but it's big fish, little fish, and we're going to be a little fish again next year. And everyone will be pointing to us saying we'll never play Norwich again, we'll never play Watford again, because we'll be swapping over every year. But we've got to go up, and the focus has got to be using the nucleus of the team that we've got now, which is probably a better team than the last two promotions over the last few years. This nucleus of this team, with Anguissa, who played well, watched him a little bit earlier for Napoli, he's coming back into it. You would expect them to try and keep the nucleus and don't go out and loan 12 players that are squad players at top 6 clubs. It doesn't work like that. We've proved that it doesn't work, and we went and done it a second time. We've got to use the nucleus of the side that takes us up, and we've got to build on that. A little bit like what Brentford have done, a little bit like what Norwich are doing, but a little bit better, obviously. And if we can do that, then I think we can kick on and survive. If we can survive for a year, 2 years, then we should be back to where we were, before on our first spell in the Premier League in the early part of the century.
Yes, absolutely, Barry. And I've more questions for you a bit later on, but first of all, let's just open up our predictions here for the listeners to see what we've all gone for this weekend. As we can see on the screen there are all the results from myself and from Barry this weekend. Keep a check of those and see who comes out on top. Who will it be? Who do you reckon it'll be? Will it be me or will it be Barry? Just let us know in the comments section below who you think's going to get the predictions right this weekend, and hopefully we'll have a good weekend of football to come very, very soon as well. Another quick question to you, Barry. Obviously, a lot of people may have heard your voice on a couple of, if they're living abroad, watching this on a couple of channels, TalkSport Live to be one of them, and a few, and probably heard you on, if you live in the UK, on Sky for some of the action. Just tell us how you're going to the role of TalkSport Live, and also the role that you do for IMG for Sky or on the Football League stuff, mate.
Yeah, I mean, it's something that has been built over the course of many years, me becoming a football commentator, and I'm quite lucky. I've been in the right place at the right time. And it's a bit like being a footballer. You can't just be a football commentator overnight without a little bit of practice, and that's what the commentary hub's there for as well. And been involved setting that up, and it's very enjoyable. It's hard work. There's no getting away from it. It can be a lonely job sometimes. I woke up last week, had to wake up at 2:00 in the morning to do a Mexican game. Yesterday morning, I woke up at 4:00 in the morning to do a Japanese second division game. It's not always glamour, but and it can be very lonely 4:00 in the morning doing a Japanese game all on your own, trying to pronounce all those names. But that's the fun of it. That's all the challenge. I thoroughly enjoy it. I've been very lucky to get in with TalkSport. That's then when the chance comes along, you've got to take it. It's a little bit like a footballer getting into the team. You've got to take it, and you've got to keep impressing. You've got to keep your levels up. to be the best at what you are. If you don't, you'll be found out, and someone else will come in and take your place. So, you've got to be on top of your game. I thoroughly enjoy it. I love doing the commentary. It's something that I've always aspired to. Running around the garden as a kid, and then suddenly, next thing I know, I am a football commentator, and it's the greatest job in the world when it's going well. You get the buzz when you're having a good game as a commentator, and there's good games are invariably good games as well. You don't get good games as a commentator that are 0-0. When you're enjoying those games, there's no greater buzz in the world than having a good game as a commentator.
Absolutely. Very good commentator as well as by listening to some of his stuff over the past few weeks and months and past few years as well. He's helped me to be the commentator that I am, is what I've done so far with all the training and everything that he does. So if you want any tips and anything on training, Barry's your man, just let me know and I'll pass you Barry's details and can get involved with that with Barry. So I just want to say, Barry, thank you very much for joining me today, mate.
Absolute pleasure. Absolute pleasure.
Yeah, so that is the Premier League predictions for week number 11 here on the Commentary Hub and our partnered channels as well. If you want to see how we get on, and just make a note of the predictions that myself and Barry did, and we'll make sure you can hear those and see those and make a note of those and see how we get on. And if you put your predictions in, we'll see how you get on as well and see if you can beat me or Barry. For myself, Barry, and the rest of the team here on the Commentary Hub, thank you very much.